Greetings to you, dear partners, investors, and of course, viewers of our channel. My name is Evgeny Shapirka, and I am the founder of the RWB Group Investment Fund. Today, we have our weekly review of the cryptocurrency market. The more positive news there is in the market, the closer we are to the end of the growth. If there is a lot of panic in the market, a sharp upward reversal always happens very soon. If there is a lot of euphoria in the market and the candles have been green for a long time, then of course, a reversal is approaching. Downward. Right now, the situation is rather neutral, but at the moment, there is already a slight negative wave in the market. Many are already asking, where is that very bull run? Where is the alt season everyone was talking about? And many are starting to lose faith in it. And the deeper the price drops, the more experts come out with different opinions, especially those claiming that the cryptocurrency market is finished. That very bull run that never happened, but that so many people were waiting for, today we will take a detailed look at the charts, examine the levels, and identify reversal points. We'll also look at the market's potential in the near future. So, make yourselves comfortable, we're about to begin. Friends, be sure to watch this video until the end, because at the end of this video, I will announce the winner of our regular giveaway of $50 for a simple comment with either an exact or preliminary price prediction for Bitcoin. As usual, we'll start by analyzing the Bitfinex exchange first. So Bitfinex exchange, let's look at the 3-month time frame. There's still 1 month and 3 days left until the close, so it's hard to say anything definitive for now, but already the first signals in a negative direction, that is, toward a decline in the cryptocurrency market, are starting to appear here. Since the RSI is crossing the purple lines, on my chart, the green one, it hasn't broken through it yet, but there's a chance, there's a possibility. Let's look at the monthly time frame. The picture. Basically, we have a short setup, as they say, clear as day, because we predicted this move well. And now the key levels we marked are being tested. So if we look at the candles, we have about a day and 7 hours left until the close of the monthly time frame. We see here that we have a triple top on the RSI. I've been talking about it for a long time, and it speaks to the market being overheated. And indeed, we are currently experiencing a decline in Bitcoin, but we will analyze it. Still, and how deep will it be, and is there a reversal visible somewhere? And what will happen to the other currencies, especially altcoins? Let's move on to the weekly time frame. We have closed the week. Well, basically not bad. They closed the week at a level. And if we consolidate below $86,000 with the body of the candle, the body of the current bar, we will see a further decline down to certain levels. The next level is $78,000. And here, looking at the candles, we can see that $72,000 is the testing of a zone that couldn't be broken through for a long time. So, what else do we see here? We see that there was a breakout after a period from around March up to November, so about 6 or 7 months, during which there was accumulation in this trading range. After that, there was a good breakout, followed by a correction, but the correction did not reach the key levels at $72,000 and even further down to $60,000. It would be good to test these points on the charts, because further growth simply doesn't happen without a retest. And this is an absolutely normal technical picture. Let's open up our levels and see what's happening here. Yes, indeed, we can see here that we have a level around $86,000. The next point is around $78,000. The next level is $72,000. And the biggest level for a global correction that I see is in the area around $63,000. Possibly even around $60,000, there are really big chances that the market will actually come down here with wicks. But again, it's important to watch the levels, because if Bitcoin consolidates above $96,000, it has a chance to move toward $102,000. What else can we see here? A left shoulder, a head, and here a right shoulder could form. This right shoulder could stretch out until the middle of 2026, so there is time for Bitcoin would grow a little and then gradually fall. Right now, with the current decline in the cryptocurrency market, this is becoming very apparent. Bitcoin's price movement is strong, while altcoins are moving less. And some altcoins even start to surge while Bitcoin is declining. This indicates that Bitcoin's liquidity is flowing into altcoins. And this is a very positive signal that the altcoin market could revive very soon, because liquidity is being transferred out of Bitcoin. Other crypto assets, such as Ethereum, that is altcoins, BNB, and many others. Let's also take a look at the daily time frame. We reached the levels of our previous wicks, after which we saw a small corrective move. The drop from our previous highs in Bitcoin was 36%. This is already quite a significant decline for Bitcoin itself, since it's the heavyweight main asset in this market. And a good corrective move for us could... Right now we've corrected by 15%, and Bitcoin might even correct by as much as 20%. After such a drop, it's even possible to see a corrective move up to these levels, meaning proportionally equal to the current decline. In other words, we dropped by about 30% and could also rebound by about 30%. So if Bitcoin consolidates at these levels, the movement could go all the way up to $107,000 to $108,000. There is a strong chance of this happening. If we look at the weekly time frame as well, there are still no signs of a reversal on the weekly chart. Our RSI is not yet in the oversold zone, although on the daily time frame we already have a good level of oversold. But here, if we take a look, there was a strong buyback. This candle is rather questionable, yes, and here's the previous day, that is November 28th. And if Bitcoin starts to fall lower, especially around $88,000, there's a huge chance to go further down to $78,000. On the weekly chart, let me remind you, we still don't have a reversal. On the monthly chart, we also don't see a reversal yet. I mentioned in previous videos, and I'll repeat it in this one as well, that it would be good for the RSI to reach the value of 50. There's still quite a bit of room to move before we reach the value of 50, so the RSI is currently around 54 to 55, and for it to reach 50, it would be very good to get to the value of 50. That is, the value of 50 could even be reached at $78,000. And then there's a chance to form this kind of arc and go further down. Or we might still reach $72,000 with wicks. In our fund, we personally consider buying Bitcoin from these zones, $78,000 and all the way down to $72,000. Anything especially below $72,000 is simply an excellent entry point, because the growth potential for Bitcoin still looks to be up to $260 and possibly even to the peak of $300,000. That is, in this growth cycle, there is a very high chance that Bitcoin will reach these levels. All the people who are now entering the cryptocurrency market for the first time, or who are complete beginners, even if they've been here for a year or two, they're still not seasoned investors. I've been in the cryptocurrency market since 2016, and I've already lived through 2 full growth cycles and 2 full cycles of decline. So during this time, there have already been quite a lot of different shocks. Bitcoin has been declared dead dozens or even hundreds of times, and each time Bitcoin has set new records. Therefore, the more negative and bad news there is right now, the closer we are to a turning point. With a 99.9% probability, Bitcoin is not going anywhere. Why? Because there is already enormous capitalization here. There are already hundreds of millions of people involved, maybe even up to 1 billion people who have interacted with the cryptocurrency market. Heads of state are accumulating it. Huge countries like America and other superpowers are adding Bitcoin to their strategic reserves. There are already mining centers, large-scale equipment, and numerous ETFs. Basically, everything you can find on financial markets is now moving over here. That's why I am deeply convinced that the cryptocurrency market is the place where the entire global economy is now gradually flowing. The numbers we're seeing now on your screens are $90,000, and at its peak, it was over $120,000. Back when I first entered the cryptocurrency market, the price was $450 to $1,000. Those numbers seemed absolutely astronomical and unreal. And I am deeply convinced, and can mathematically prove with calculations, that Bitcoin will be worth more than $1 million. Yes, in dollars. More than $1 million. These numbers will seem just small, just like $450 once seemed. But now, looking at it with those same eyes, if you think about it, yes, I understood that this number would come someday, but to actually see it in reality, it was hard to believe. But yes, Bitcoin is already worth these kinds of numbers. And its market capitalization is still quite small. For Bitcoin to grow tenfold, its capitalization needs to increase tenfold. And that's only about $30 trillion. So today, the cryptocurrency market is about $3.3 to $3.5 trillion, while the stock and currency markets have a share of about $400 trillion. So even if just 10% moves into the cryptocurrency market, Bitcoin will already be worth over $1 million. For now, it's not even that alarming. There's just a decline in the market, and this drop is neither scary nor significant. There have been much stronger ones. There have been much bigger crashes in the cryptocurrency market, like when Bitcoin dropped by 50% in just an hour, when China banned mining at the state level, when practically all global mining was based in China. There were some major shocks, but Bitcoin still managed to return to its previous levels. The point is, the market simply isn't going to disappear. That's why we've been in this fund for many years now. Very soon, it will be 10 years since I entered the cryptocurrency market, and our fund has been officially operating since 2020 while I started managing it. I've been managing investors' funds since 2017, and we multiply Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, and USDT with returns of approximately 3 to 8% per month. These are top cryptocurrency assets that form the foundation of the crypto market. So, if you're interested in collaborating with our fund, you'll find links in the description to our infobot and, of course, to our technical support service in case you have any questions. Now, let's move on to reviewing the Ethereum coin. I'd like to look at Ethereum on the 3-month time frame. Let me show you. The 3-month time frame, the quarterly one, has closed above all the previous yearly highs we've seen before. This is a bullish signal. Of course, miracles do happen in the market. And if these 3 months are wiped out and we consolidate below 3,200, then most likely the decline could continue. But for now, we don't see that happening. We have a solid consolidation. We have a breakout. And on the monthly time frame, we see a very interesting picture. The monthly time frame looks quite strong. Strong as long as it holds above the $2,500 mark. If we see a consolidation at $2,500, if that happens, then we could see a drop down to around $1,900 or possibly even $1,700. But for now, that's not the case. Ethereum is still holding its upward movement. We also have an interesting picture on the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, we have a triple bottom. I showed an analogy before, and I'll show it again in this video with the MNT coin. Here we also have a triple bottom after which there was a breakout and a corrective move down to the middle of the largest bottom. After that, there was a strong upward movement. The same thing is happening here with Ethereum. I mentioned around these levels that if Ethereum continues its upward movement, then most likely we'll see something similar to what happened with the MNT coin. And basically, we've now almost reached the maximum target. There's just a little bit left to go. Of course, there's a chance we could drop down to these levels here. That's around $2,600 to $2,500, and possibly even with wicks down to $2,200. Now we'll open our charts, and after that, we expect a strong upward movement, just like it was with the MNT coin. The upward trend is still holding. Of course, there could be wicks testing these levels, but that would be the extreme point. So, if something like that happens, it would be an excellent opportunity, but I think it's very unlikely we'll see those numbers. All throughout 2024, the media kept saying that Ethereum was going to the moon. And experienced crypto enthusiasts know very well that Ethereum always outpaces Bitcoin in growth by at least 1.5 times, sometimes even twice as much. But this time, that didn't happen. And Bitcoin, the heavyweight asset, delivered the largest percentage growth. The year 2025. Faith in Ethereum has completely collapsed, dropped to zero. And right now, confidence in Ethereum is at very, very low levels. And I believe that right now is Ethereum's time. The time of altcoins. When Ethereum starts to grow, the rest of the altcoin market will start to grow as well. That's why, in our fund, we're making a very big bet on Ethereum. We've already bought back a huge portion of Ethereum with our capital, and if prices go even lower, we'll be more than happy to buy more. This is not a recommendation of any kind. Under no circumstances are the actions we take anyone else's responsibility but our own, so this is not financial advice. What else do we have here regarding Ethereum levels? We clearly reached the level at the yellow line, $2,630, and bounced off from it. Now, if Ethereum truly doesn't consolidate and firmly establish itself above the significant $3,180 mark, then the considerable chances of it returning to the lower $2,600 level remain exceptionally high. If it consolidates below $2,600, our next local level is the area around $2,480, and if it does not hold $2,480, then the next major level is around the $2,000 zone. The $2,000 zone. As for these levels, well, I don't really believe for now that Ethereum will reach them. And even more so, I don't see it happening technically. Of course, there could be exceptions, but everything at these levels and everything that might be at these levels is already, in my opinion, and for the fund, a good enough buying opportunity for Ethereum. So in these zones, we are buying up Ethereum and we are buying it very actively in large volumes. Basically, that's all I have on Ethereum. We're waiting for the month to close. If the month closes even at these levels, that's already very, very good. So only if we consolidate below $2,000 and $480, we could have a high chance of dropping to around $2,000. Now let's take a look at Ethereum to Bitcoin. We've reached a level from back in 2019. Just imagine, 2019, That's what was happening 6 years ago. Ethereum tested and consolidated at these values, so it confirmed that it really is a strong asset. Right now, we're seeing significant growth. This is everything we've had here. During the decline, yes, I said that Ethereum would fall, and in principle, that's exactly what happened. Please confirm in the comments if you've been watching our reviews for a long time, maybe some of our investors as well. So we've just had a good rally. I showed it here, and I'll show it again. We had a solid growth here, about 140% or so. Of course, after such a rapid rise, yes, 140%, you'd expect to see some kind of correction, a correction of 30 to 50%. Let's take a look at how much our Ethereum has corrected. So far, the deepest correction we've had is about 29%. And if it goes to 50%, that's possible. The 50% figure is just an approximate level that I'm indicating. It could be 37%, it could be 43%. So in other words, there is a chance for Ethereum to drop to approximately 0.024 against Bitcoin. But for now, the outlook remains positive. The level is holding here. Ethereum definitely needs to break through this downward trend line. I believe that Ethereum will reach levels against Bitcoin that it has never reached before. Here we see the most colossal and significant oversold condition for Ethereum. Notice, for example, the beginning of 2025. Here we have the end of 2024. As I mentioned, in 2024, faith in Ethereum was destroyed, and it continued to be destroyed throughout 2025. Basically, yes. And here we see Ethereum from a technical perspective. Is looking at the greatest oversold condition in all of Ethereum's history. So, this oversold condition on the monthly time frame does not play out in just 6 months. A monthly time frame can indicate at least a year or even a year and a half to 2 years of strong growth if we have reached an oversold state. Accordingly, for myself personally, for our fund, and for our investors, I see excellent opportunities to enter Ethereum right now. After breaking the downward trend line, Ethereum should surpass its previous highs and reach price levels relative to Bitcoin of 0.24 and possibly even up to 0.36 or even higher. We might even see Ethereum at 0.4 relative to Bitcoin. In other words, Bitcoin could experience a significant drop right now, something that basically has never happened before. This could be because Bitcoin still has room to fall, but in my opinion, Ethereum is looking in the completely opposite direction. Well, that's basically all I have to say about Ethereum. Let's move on to our BNB. So, regarding BNB, in previous reviews, I also showed that we have a technically drawn bullish flag. This bullish flag started to play out, there was good volume dumped here, and there might be a return back into the bullish flag. Here, the price movement continues, and as the pattern fully plays out, according to classic technical analysis, here's what happens. I just made some marks, set the breakout point, and right here we have a perfect touch at $3,100. By the way, what do you think? Will Ethereum, or rather BNB to USDT, reach $3,100? Because technically everything points to BNB reaching these levels, and possibly even very, very soon. Here we have the Fibonacci drawn, marked clearly. We have the pattern, the breakout from the pattern, and the maximum overbought points for BNB. And here it is, just a perfect chart. Everything aligns perfectly with the chart, so in my opinion, BNB has huge growth potential, and if there are any pullbacks, which let's take a look, could happen, these pullbacks might go all the way down to this trend line within our bull flag pattern and could drop as low as $650. If we see those numbers, that would be the perfect entry point for our BNB. Right now, if BNB doesn't consolidate above 880 USDT, well, as you can see, it even reached 900. Since there's no consolidation happening, the zone around $725 is currently acting as a magnet for us. So $725 is our next strong level, and it might take a few more weeks to get there. That means we could see possible wicks in the market around here and roughly down to this area. Those are my thoughts on BNB to USDT. Please share your thoughts. I'd be interested to read what you think about Bitcoin and about Ethereum's growth, about whether it will reach the prices I mentioned, and what you think about the BNB coin. Let me remind you that we conduct our weekly reviews on a regular basis, sharing entry and exit points that we see for ourselves in the fund, showing the market as we see it, whether bullish or bearish, and highlighting the levels where we see selling or buying opportunities. And of course, we've launched our segment from $100 to $100,000 for the first time from our fund, aiming to achieve this in 1 year. We show what we are buying, what we will be selling, and at what prices. And everything is public just for you. We broadcast this every week. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you can keep up with this information. Well, let's determine our winner for this week. At the time of recording this video, the price is 90,518. So who is our winner? 90,518. That's an incredible 90,519. Absolutely unbelievable. This truly amazing comment has just won our special giveaway and will proudly receive a fantastic $50 as a prize. Stas Filonov, apologies if I pronounced it incorrectly, 90,519. This is probably one of the most accurate, if not the most accurate, predictions in all the episodes we've had with our giveaway. Congratulations to you. Contact our support and claim your $50. Friends, let me remind you that under our weekly review videos, you can always leave up to 3 comments per person with either an exact or approximate Bitcoin price. And maybe in the next episode, you will be our winner. The contest is as fair and transparent as possible, just for you. Friends, our episode is coming to an end. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. Please give us a thumbs up and leave a comment to support us. Support our channel and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in the next episodes. Bye.